right. The Larkspur Heritage Preservation Board meeting for Thursday, August 28th. Let's start by taking roll. Sonia? Present. Lilia? Present. Hillary present, and Richard Storick?
Is present.
Present, and Carol Goldberg is absent. Maybe she's caught in traffic.
No, she confirmed that she wasn't able to.
Oh, she did, okay. First thing is public comment on matters not on the agenda. So is there anyone here in chambers or online that would like to address the board?
So no hands raised on Zoom.
Okay. And now it's time for one of my favorite parts of our board meetings is the public, the planning staff's oral report.
Yeah, just a few items for you. The plaques, the public works superintendent confirmed that he would be able to start installing them. It was after September 15th. Is that what you recall from the email chain? Yeah, so pretty soon here.
But they've started marking where they're going to be.
Yes, yeah, they've already, I think they are well underway, so it should happen here very shortly to have them all actually finished and installed. I think we'll talk about this a little bit more later tonight, but there'll be a city hall tour / open house related to the historic structures report and the outreach efforts. And there's 2 of them scheduled. The first one is September 15th, and then the second one is October 2nd. I don't have a specific time right now, but when I do have that, I can relay that to you. And then the last one that you may or may not have heard, that Elise Simonian, the Community Development Director, is retiring. So she will, yes, surprise. She is retiring. She will, I think her last day is the middle of September. And they are starting the hiring process, so we may end up with a new department director here in a couple months maybe. But that's all I've got for you.
Is it inappropriate to ask if you're in contention?
I did not submit an application.
Elise is too young to retire.
Well, some people got lucky, they get the 55 retirement out of the system.
Thank you. All right, so let's get started with the public hearing on 546A Magnolia Avenue. And Alex, can you fill us in a little bit on that one?
Sure, yeah, just a very brief report and presentation for you. So this is PLN 24-054 for 546 Magnolia Avenue. It's World Green Acai is the business, as I'm sure you've seen it as you've driven by or been a patron. And it's located just down the street here, right next to the old train station buildings. Here's a view of the front of it. And the project just simply seeks to approval to enclose the existing front and rear patios with a mix of vinyl and polyurethane fabrics to kind of season proof it, just like a seasonal enclosure anyway. And because the project is in the National Register of Historic District, it does require review and approval by the Heritage Committee. Well, it requires you to forward a recommendation to the Planning Commission, who would then make the final determination. The structure itself is not listed on the city's inventory, and then in one of the attachments, when the National District was first applied for, it was reviewed and found to be non-contributing as a structure, and it's undergone some modifications since that review has occurred in I think the 70s. So there would be no expansion of the footprint. It would just be, like I said, simply new roofing material and then an enclosure to kind of keep the weather out. You have received 3 public comments on it. I'd say all of them in general support. There were 2 that were requesting some alterations to the existing exterior lighting on site. And I think when I emailed you about them, I did include a note that is a standard condition of approval when the Planning Commission approves anything, is to have lights downshield the exterior lights to prevent glare. So that would be addressed should this move forward.
Could you explain that a little further? At the Planning Commission level, they control the lighting of buildings, is that it?
So yeah, when the Planning Commission makes a decision on a project, they're They also include standard conditions of approval, which relate to a lot of different things. What building codes the project might be subject to, and all sorts of things. But really, one of them comes down to, it says that all exterior lights shall be essentially, treated so as they don't produce glare across a property line or shine across a property line and cause some sort of intrusion. So should the planning commission decide to approve the project, that would be a condition of approval that would then be enforced on the property. So there would be an adjustment to the lighting there to take care of the concerns that were brought up. And with that, staff recommends that you hold a public hearing, take public testimony, discuss the project and forward a recommendation of approval to the planning commission. And that's all I've got for you. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the owner of the business is here as well.
Well, I had a question, what they're doing to enclose the patios is not permanent walls.
No, it would be not like easily removable enclosures. It's just a fabric.
I have a question. It said that this came before the city last November 2024, the application. I'm just curious why it took so long to get to us.
There were a number of reviews that take place. In this case, it took a little bit of time for the fire department to sign off there because they have concerns about the type of fabrics that are used and making sure that they are fire resistant and safe for people to occupy. So there's always kind of a lag time between submittal and then however many reviews it requires for the fire department and all other city departments to sign off on a project, excuse me, and say it's complete and can move forward to it again. So that's where the bill came.
And the applicant, Roberto Saldana, is he the owner of the building or he's the owner of the business?
He's the owner of the business.
Okay. Can you address, it said outdoor enclosures similar to the proposed project have been recently discussed by the planning commission who were not supportive of similar applications. What would make this project different or more likely to be approved?
I'm not sure that I can speak to the decision making of the commission for a particular project, but just in general, it was at least 2 or 3 months ago now that they had at least discussed the design review requirements for accessory structures and outdoor enclosures in the downtown and kind of citywide for commercial businesses. It seemed to staff that they were not entirely on board with some of them, at least. They would have required changes. There are a number that get put up without permits or without the proper permits, I should say. So because they don't go through design review, they may not have an aesthetic that the commission wants to see. So they had indicated that there were some of those such cases around that they would likely have required changes if they had gone through proper permitting.
I wonder if that's related to the COVID era parklets and some of the extensions that businesses were doing.
Very possible.
What else today? Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to jump in.
Well, I, in general, wondered if it's something that doesn't really change and permanently change a structure, a storage structure. Is it automatically all right or not? Are we looking, when it comes before us, are we looking for permanent changes or?
The way that the code is written, it's essentially any change to a structure in the downtown district or any change. It's a very broad, it's the only things you can do without the historic resources committees kind of sign off would be maintenance and repair work.
Oh.
Or things like that you have to correct for unsafe conditions.
Okay,
So
so that's why it's coming before us.
yeah, because it would be, it is a non-permanent, like an easily reversible change. It's not a permanent structure that would be, that's being proposed, but it is an alteration. So that's
Well, the other thing is, the notes here that the board should consider the proposed project's visual relationship to its surroundings. And, granted, it's not facing Magnolia, it's not facing the commercial street, but it is facing the bike path and it's adjacent to the old train station. Which has traditionally been kind of a quiet, sort of, almost pedestrian use, because I think there's some parking there, but it's only for people that are going to the martial arts studio or the SE place. So how should we consider the visual relationship of this semi-permanent structure?
I mean, that's up to the board. I think as it reads in the staff report, staff considers it an easily reversible change. They would not be let me pull it up here. Yes, it's easily reversible, so in staff's opinion, we didn't feel that an initial review by a consultant was required. But if the board feels that one is required, it could indicate so in its recommendation. And I don't know if you want to hear from the business owner or go to public comment before we do discussion or anything up to you.
Maybe that's a good idea. Yes. Could we hear from the business owner?
He is the business owner. And
If you could, sorry, if you could speak into the microphone so I can pick you up, and you might have to turn it on.
I'm sorry, my friend Brazil, my English not very good, is my translator.
Thank you for having us here. So I did the drawings for him. I am an architect in New Valley. So I'm helping him out. He is my good friend. Can you hear me?
You might have to turn it on the top. That might be it.
Okay. So what was your question again? If the look is, what was your question? I'm sorry.
I was pondering the impact on the bike path that runs behind all of those buildings.
Yeah.
And that's not facing the commercial district, of course, but
Yeah,
I'm assuming the historic district extends to the back of those
The
buildings.
train station, right, people?
So to be clear, this would be for both the front and the back of the building. They're both existing patios that they're seeking to enclose. And then, yes, the boundary of the district would be, it's the rear property line of that subject property, which is the edge of the bike.
Which is the edge of the bike path. Okay. So it does come in, it's fully under our purview as being part of the historic district.
Yes, it's within, all of it is within the downtown district.
Okay.
so, right now there is already an existing enclosure. So we are replacing something that's not as nice as it's meant to be. So it's already permitted with the structure that is already there. So in my opinion, that will bring more appeal. It's because it's a nicer fabric and a vinyl that is fireproof and all the requirements for fire safety. So in my opinion, is replacing something to make it look better.
And the back and the front will have the same treatment.
Yes.
Well, the main objection from what I've read is the lighting. The lights affecting the condominium owners.
Those have been the subject of the public comments.
But is that under our discussion, the lighting, or is that something the planning commission would be looking at?
You could certainly include in your recommendation that they address that, but it does get looked at by the plan.
Okay.
And I don't know if you have any more questions for the applicant.
I do. Have you anticipated this, and is there a mitigation to the lighting that you have in mind?
Well, we have to discuss with the business owner, the building owner, I mean, because those lights are part of the building. So we can propose and tell him that we need to replace. So we didn't yet, select the light, but we will, since it's
And the building owner, what does he own? Does he own, let's see, there's the sugar that's in there
yeah,
and does,
It's the whole, he owns
Yeah, the
that,
whole
the
thing.
bike shop,
yeah,
where the train station building. All the way down to the American, doesn't, stops at the American Legion building or just before that, but it's everything.
Oh,
and goes right up to the driveway to Lucky's or the edge of the bike shop.
yeah.
It goes to the edge of the bike shop.
Okay.
It doesn't quite, the driveway to Lucky's is a separate property.
Okay,
and does it come up to the park-like area there too? Include
Yes,
that?
yeah,
That's,
wow.
there, I just,
Wow.
we'd like to see. So everything in that blue highlight, oh, sorry. Everything in the blue highlight there, that's the property. So it's got the park. And then this building down here is the American Legion, which isn't included. So all of the buildings, including the subject business, are along this line here, and then this is the bike path. And this is Lucky's just to the east of it.
Wow.
what about what we used to call the warming hut? It's across the bike path.
I believe that also is on this property.
Oh,
So he owns even the path, the bike path? Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really good.
Well, here's the question. This would set, I'm assuming, a precedent. So if we said, yes, go ahead and put in an awning, a semi-permanent or a removable fixture in front of your building. Would that enable other business owners in that complex or potentially in the historic district to say, well, you allowed it at this location, therefore we should be permitted to do it here and here and here. I'm just concerned about that because that, I think, would have a cumulative effect of having an impact on the historic district. Not that that's going to happen, but
I'm not necessarily, no, I mean, if you're worried about still having purview over changes like that, that wouldn't change. Approving a project like this wouldn't change the fact that other projects come before the board. And I'm, a proper applicant who has a non-contributing structure may point to it and say, well, you approved this, or you forwarded a recommendation on this. But that you're not necessarily bound to the same decision if you find that there's a different set of circumstances or a different impact in one case versus another.
okay. So if the martial arts studio wanted to build an additional 15 or 20 feet of space in the back for extra sparring classes, they could theoretically do that.
They could apply.
They could
Sure.
apply.
well, and I think it would make a difference if it were like concretely put in some, whole change.
Yeah, permanent
This is
structures versus something that can be
Removable.
removed.
became a big
The same criteria would apply.
Anything else that you want to say about it or?
Yeah, since I live here in Marin, I just like to support the small business. And the space inside is very small, so it's important for the business to have this enclosed area. So it's protected by the rain on the winter time, so they can keep going with their business in the winter. So I guess the only thing I want to add.
So it will have a roof in addition.
Yes, but it's all fabric. It's not a metal roof, it's just a fabric. Switch.
Anyone else have anything else you'd like to add or ask?
Well, I am concerned about the people that objected because of lighting. You
Yeah.
said you're gonna
Yeah,
deal
we
with
will,
that.
yeah, we will
Okay,
do whatever.
So we should make that a condition for approval.
Okay.
I would suggest going to public comment before we get too into the discussion of the project.
Okay,
Yeah.
then we'll open it up to public comment.
I have a comment. You want me to go up there?
Yes.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Marilyn River, 121 Pepper Larkspur. I don't think this thing is on, but anyway, who cares? My one comment is that both the railroad right of way and the train station and the warming hut are on the national contributing structures to the National Register. And one of the things the board should take into consideration is public view, if this will impair public view of those other structures in any way. Oh, one other comment. I no longer own the property, but at one time I owned commercial property where there were complaints of condominium owners nearby about lighting. And at the municipality made us have the lighting modified with shades and so that it went down into the parking lot, but would not shine into the windows. And I'm assuming this is the same sort of thing, that they have shields for the lighting so it will not go across into windows of adjoining apartments and condos and homes.
That's a really important point. Have you all walked around or taken a look, or you're familiar with the perspective or the viewpoint that Marilyn was talking about?
Yes,
Yeah, I have, and I've seen the photos that show the problem. I have to say, though, this project, if we're discussing as a board now, I'm fully in favor of it. I think it's a big improvement, small business. It's not permanent, and fabric structures are wonderful. I don't see any problem with it if the lighting is mitigated.
well, and I would agree with that opinion. So,
Yeah, I think the warming hut, it doesn't obscure any of the views of the warming hut. And provided that it doesn't extend out any further or any higher than the existing lights and roof, you can still see both of the historic structures. And again, it's not a permanent addition. I don't know what would change it, maybe a change in business or some other regulation that would cause us to come back and revisit that, but yeah, I think if it brings business, especially in the winter, to that corners, I think it's fine. All right, so should we make a motion?
I would move to approve the staff recommendation.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes with 4 ayes and 1 absence. So this will be sent to the planning commission and likely noticed for the September 9th hearing, which is 2 Tuesdays from now.
Okay. All right. So. Moving on to the
Thank
business.
you. Thank you for the
Yeah,
project.
thank you,
Thank
good
you.
luck. So moving on to the business items. First of all, the approval of the meeting minutes. Anyone have any comments or edits?
They look fine to me.
Yeah, me too. Okay. So. Those look fine. Do we need to vote on those?
I would, yeah.
All right, all in favor of approving the meeting minutes from June 26th?
Aye.
And, okay. So here we come to the sort of the heart of the meeting here. The historic archives discussion and City Hall, which will follow this. So,
I don't have too much to, this was a discussion item requested by the chair and a member of the public here, Maryland River. So I available for any questions if you have them. But I don't have a formal report for you on this.
Well, maybe we could start with, maybe Marilyn, would you mind going up to the microphone and you could kind of give us a sort of description of what the archive room is going to look like in the library and
Sure.
your understanding of where we are with accessioned items?
Is it possible for me to go to the table instead?
Sure, is there a microphone there for her,
Oh,
or
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
this
yeah.
one?
The owl is a microphone.
Is that a microphone?
It is, yeah, you
How
might,
about this?
Alex,
this mic?
how about right here?
you can sit right there. That way you
Okay.
can not.
I brought papers with me and I just sit at the table.
While you're there, do you want these back? No? Okay.
Hi, I'm Marilyn Rubin. I was on the board for many, many years. And, you probably are aware that the new library is going to have a permanent home for the Larkspur archives. And, I don't know if I didn't bring with me a copy of the plans for everybody, but there's a room in the back hallway here. It's about a 9 by 11 room, not very big.
Which
And-
number is it, Marilyn, on the?
It's down here in the back hallway.
So faces, Dorothy?
It actually would be, I'm not sure which direction that is. I think it's.
Yeah, it's opposite, so
It's the, Rose Lane, it's,
Yeah.
it's not Rose Lane.
Let's pull out this one.
Yeah.
It is, on the
It's south side.
south side. There it is. Anyway, this is a request that I made of the council and they, agreed that it would be included in the new library. And I went through the City Hall with Kristen Tyke when she was the staff rep to the Heritage Board, and we walked City Hall and all of the different locations where archival material is stored, and the main location is the janitor's closet. And it was there all the time. I was on the board from 1988 on. And then there are other locations, including in Kristen's office, which may or may not be your office, because I don't know where your office is. And there's map drawers and just things are in different locations. And I felt it was important to have an appropriate temperature controlled room, even though these items haven't seen that in years and years and years, for these items for the future. And the council agreed, and so it's going to happen. And I met with Ann Morrison not too long ago, and she said, well, Marilyn, you're in charge of the room. And I looked at her and I said, oh, okay. And I'm not on the Heritage Board. I don't have any official relationship with the city except as a citizen and a resident. And I talked to Lelia, with whom you know I've been working on this market project that is soon to have the first floor. Okay, first floor installed shortly, which is wonderful. And so I thought it best to come to the board and have a discussion about this archive. And I'm hoping there may be one or more board members who are interested in learning about the archives, because I don't know how much, I know Lilia knows about the archives, but I'm not sure how much the rest of you know about the archives. So have any of you ever looked into the cabinets and?
You know, we have seen the archives lurking around here in spots here and there, and I've seen some of it. I just noticed today coming in though, there's a tribute to you sitting on the floor of the men's room.
Oh, okay.
It's very nice. It's a big document from the city and it's framed and it's worth reading.
I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, maybe I didn't.
Well, you can go in and look at it.
No, I'm gonna go get it for you and show you.
But so here we are, and I do think it would be helpful, to do a few things. One is that, I'm gonna back up now. Before I left the board about 12 or 15 years ago, however long ago that was, the board hired a woman named Heather Ford. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with her work, or if you've seen the report she produced and so forth for the city. That's a shame, because she did a lot of work. And I asked Alex to make a copy of just a small portion of it, which talked about project goals and work accomplished. And you have that, so you have that.
Let me find it.
It should have been, it was on the dais for you when you lost it.
Okay. So Heather is a collections management consultant, because we were all very concerned about the deterioration of materials and the fact that we had photos, numerous photos, that's the main collection, it's numerous photos. And we had, prior to me ever being involved, we had negatives that were in the bank vault, and when people would ask for photo, a volunteer would go to the bank and they get the negative and they take it to a photo place and then have it printed and et cetera. And we knew that technology was now obsolete, and so Heather evaluated things. You can look at your leisure, not right now, but you can look at what she did. And then there were recommendations that she made for the future. And one of the recommendations was to have a collections volunteer to complete the work that she started. And I accessed the city website to see how many of the items in the archives, which were on paper. This is the archive. This is the archives. I copied it one day, a long time ago.
Well, how many items?
Well, it's hard to tell. I can tell you how many accessions there were, but some of them were multiple photos, so I'm not sure how many there were actually. But it goes up to 430 accessions.
And that includes interviews.
This doesn't include interviews.
No.
These are, well, it could include interviews, but I never had the interviews that I typed up. I transcribed most of the interviews about 10 years ago, and I never had those accessions. So there's a whole myriad of things here. And I tried to see what was available online. And what I was particularly interested, because I knew that the two volunteers we had, who were just wonderful women, one is Laura Callahan, who worked for the library. I don't know if she still does or if she's retired. And the other was Catherine Jones, who was a very quiet woman who lived in the canyon. And they came in and they scanned all the photos with high resolution with a computer we bought. Is that in your office?
A scanner?
A scanner and a computer that's about 15 years old.
I haven't seen one.
It was on a stand near Kristen's desk. Anyway, they scanned everything, and she purchased, I guess you call it a license for Task Perfect, which was an archival program, software program. and all of that information, all those photos went on the Past Perfect. I tried to find the objects and see if photos had been taken of the objects, like bottles and pins and different ashtrays and things. And they, are very oddly enough, I discovered this today, that there was one missing from here, number 5, that's an object. But that's the only one that's on the city website is number 5. The rest of them, there's 30 of them, are objects are not listed. So we need to have somebody go through, find them, take pictures of them, and enter that as part of our archives.
Where would
And
those objects be?
Hmm?
Where would those?
I have
objects-
no idea. That's a good question.
Is there a box or? an-
Well, there's a
Door.
small safety deposit box right somewhere, was it heritage or not? You know that? But
So here's a, here's, I gotta hand these out. Here's a list of what Kristen and I compiled as far as archival storage goes. And then on the back, I typed up today, and I already see a typo, what the artifacts, furnishings, and clothing category, which is number 9 in the archives, what is they, were the few items we have, so. We need to have some work done. I don't know how much work it is, and I think that we need to have some people who are interested to do some exploring, and now, probably before decisions are made about City Hall and before the new library opens in the spring, is the time to do it.
because the idea is for all of these accession articles, papers, whatever, to be in the archival room in the new library.
That is the assumption I've made, is that there's enough room there. Now, I have a question about that, and I'm not a collections manager. And I'm not sure how to go about. We could try to find Heather Fordham. I'm not sure if she's working in the county or in the county anymore. She was living in Napa, I think, when we hired her. Do you
She
remember?
worked for the county.
She does work for the county.
Well, she did. I don't know if she
She was
still
working
is.
at the Marine History Museum too at one time, so. But I think that's what it's called in San Antonio.
Mhm.
Anyway, and she had a volunteer from, I think, SF State, but I may be mistaken about that. Christine Fall, who was a student who, they do a lot of hands-on work probably when you're in that program. They redid the flip chart that's out in the hall here.
Oh, yeah.
They were responsible for that. We have the Heritage Board has a preservation award program, which apparently has kind of like in advance for a number of years. And we had photos of the award homes and businesses that we had have been cited by the board as being exemplary. And they were hanging in the hallway downstairs.
Yeah.
They're no longer there. I have no idea where they are, where those
I wonder
photos
if the
are.
library has them someplace.
I don't know. I think they painted the walls, took them down, and
Yeah.
they disappeared. So there's a number of items that need to be addressed, and I'm hoping that there will be people on the Heritage Board who will be interested in looking into this, and I'd be happy to work with them in whatever way I can and give you my, I guess, you become the institutional memory, so, and what I'm aware of, that we had a whole cadre of volunteers at one time, and I'm sure there are people in the community who, especially retirees, who might be interested in helping out. We had numerous people show up when we were working on the past and present 20 years ago. 50 people, 40 I think we'll show. Wow. Yeah, really interesting. We didn't have enough work to throw, unfortunately.
So you see this initially as a process of kind of consolidating and finding locations for the collection. And when I say collection, I mean photographs, physical items.
Well, what I'm hoping is that we have these cabinets here, they were there in other locations, is that somebody, and I don't know who that would be, who has a good organizational sense, would be able to help organize this archives room in the new library to start with. I'm also would love, and I have, you know, I've had lots of ideas floating through, but nothing has come to fruition. I contacted Damon, but he hasn't gotten back to me about the library interest in this. I've been thinking about Lori Thompson, who's in the camp room at the county library, contacting her because she'd probably be a really good resource for helping organizing the archives. And if push comes to shove, the board does have monies, separate monies in an account with the city, a separate little object code, this is Heritage Board, that could be used to hire somebody to come in and help organize. And then I would love to see this work that was begun in the 2010s finished in terms of entering all the data so that the information on the city website is complete of what is in the archives.
And we don't know if we still have access to
Well,
past.
that was the question I had for Ally.
Same thing.
Thinking about the past, present,
Past,
Yeah.
it's
That's
called
perfect.
past perfect.
I believe, I think it's still maintained, I think the city still pays the licensing fee on it.
Yeah.
As to
But it's
what,
not a physical place.
It's a software program, it's a database.
It's an annual subscription.
Yeah,
Well, that's good, they still.
Marilyn, has anyone looked at the size of this 9 by 11 foot room and looked at the ability to store all these archives?
well, supposedly the architects did.
What did they have to look at for inventory?
I sent them photos. I didn't send the architects, but I sent to somebody photos of all the different items, and then there was a, see if I have it, well, that's on this side. This shows everything that I relocated at City Hall.
And do we know where all these things are?
Well, I think we could probably,
They're here, it's in the
Find
hall
them.
somewhere.
and there are some things that will not probably go into the archive room because they're on display, like these photos here and some of the things out in the lobby that, you know, not everything. I think this, like this banner is one of the items in the archives room, and we had that, stabilized and mounted to put here in the chambers when I was on board. And waiting.
And these
Oh,
by now qualify as historic.
We haven't, actually, we have not accessioned those, but we should. The banners.
I have a kind of an easy question, and that is, you talked about the computer equipment and furniture stored on a rolling desk. But Alex, we don't know, where did this thing go?
that's a great question.
Well-
It was a number of years ago, so I don't know that it's still with us. I mean, we have scanners and copiers.
This was what they call a high resolution scanner.
Yeah.
And they, I think, assume they're all in TIFF format, they're in high resolution.
And then this sounds like it's a complete unit.
Well, it was right by Kristen's desk over here a couple of years ago. I think.
Can we request that be tracked down? I mean, that's,
I can take a look for it, but I can't promise you that.
Yeah.
People turn it out.
Well, is she still around? for us to call and say, by the way, remember where any of those things
I
are?
can, yeah, I can reach out.
Yeah, reach out to her and just see if the city still has it, because the equipment is obsolete. The scanner might not be, the computer for sure is obsolete.
So the files, after they were scanned, they were loaded into this Past Perfect program. But there must still be the original scanned TIFF documents somewhere.
Well, the photos themselves are in the janitor's closet.
Right. But I'm thinking the scanned, maybe, I mean, maybe that's a bit of a lost cause.
They
at
would
this
have
point.
been on the computer.
They would have been on, so they weren't on a drive or,
I don't know.
okay.
I think if you read through what the work accomplished, maybe we'll find it's, like on page 2, it says data storage and backup. You might want to read, just not now, but at some point read through this.
There were 2 set on hard drives. One hard drive is on site, the other is off site.
Well, now that's interesting, because Leonia and I happen to be on a safe deposit box at Bank of Marin, isn't it, right?
Yes, the bank. It's not.
And Puerto Madera and Tamalpais,
And it's kind of hard to find where the key is here at City Hall.
and really.
I have no idea.
Leonia and the
Yeah.
city treasurer and I are on this. And I don't think it's ever been changed since we last had it changed. Originally Nancy Curley was on it. Anyway, we won't go into that story. Anyway, there were all of these, negatives for the photos were stored there, and other things were stored there because the city hall burned down. We didn't want anything lost, and that was the idea. The safe deposit box, but actually at this point, because you can put things on the cloud, we probably don't need the safe deposit box of everything that. I don't know, I can't, and we may have originals from. There's a company at the Novato that did a lot of filming of interviews. And the originals for those, I don't know, there's a number of items in the safe deposit box, it isn't just negatives. And I don't know what happened, I transcribed all of the, with the help of a couple of other people, did 1 or 2 of them. I transcribed all of the interviews. That's another subject that we should get into another day, is doing more interviews. Really, and we were talking about that the other day. Another generation of old Larkspur should be interviewed.
Wow.
So there's work to do.
There's a lot of work to do.
Yes.
This sounds like such a project for the library to take on, the library leadership. With all of the people who are supporting the library. There has to be somebody who would say, I can take this on.
Well, I asked Damon to bring it up at the library board meeting, and I suggested to him that there may be. Since the Heritage Board used to be a very proactive group, we were at events with tables, and we did a lot of reaching out to the community as part of our education mission. But that's kind of changed over the years, and I understand that. But I asked Damon if maybe there could be a subgroup within Friends of the Library, say, that would be interested in Larkspur history. So we have a lot of new people in the community who know very little about it. So, but as I say, I haven't heard that from him, so.
Well, I like the idea of the library, since it's gonna be the house, the archival room, really hook up with them.
Another
In
thing
terms of bringing everything together.
there is a window in this room, in the hallway, which apparently can hold some items, and it could be that the items that are these 30 so items, the smaller ones could be on display there if somebody had any talent in creating placards for each one describing what it is, they could be on display in that window. And
The archival room is gonna
yeah,
have a
it
window.
will have a window on that hallway, but that's the back hallway, nobody's gonna go back there. And I'm really hoping, and I've talked to, sent letters to Julian Skinner, who I've been told is in charge of what's going in the library, that I'm hoping there will be a space on a wall, not that big even, just 4 by 6 or whatever, on someplace where perhaps old photos of neighborhoods or important people or events rotate happen. They could, every month or two, they could be rotated through, and again, volunteers would be needed to make that happen, but the funding should be there through the Heritage Board funds if there will need to, for framing and that kind of thing, and reproduction and that kind of thing.
You know who does the library?
I don't know, but they did a great job when I used to go to the library.
Section of the
and I looked
library
at
and
them.
we're going, oh, yes.
Yeah.
Changing.
Whoever did that.
Exhibits,
Great
yeah.
job. I think she's probably retired, because I talked to her one day. I doubt I talked to her 20 years ago, so. I think she's.
Well, they still are doing things,
Somebody must be doing it. Yeah.
I've been in Larkspur, there are 15 to 20 retired PhD historians.
There you go.
Call out there, and this is the work for a historian, somebody who can
Mhm.
tell the stories.
right?
I mean, in another life, I would love to, but I'm not there, so.
Well,
That's why
I think
think,
the
like-
Heritage Board could put something into the bulletins that go out from the city and the manager's report, whatever. And we can come up with a plan and then say, we're looking for volunteers and here's different items and see what happens, at least to get a feel for it.
I think that's a great idea. Are you talking about, Dan Schwartz's
Yeah,
newsletter?
it's that weekly, I don't know what other communications that I can think of, then with Park and Rec and the library puts out something as well. I think it'd be really good, maybe Hillary is new chair here, and I don't know who the library board is chair, but maybe having a discussion with the
Okay.
library board
Okay.
chair about it.
I can do that. So essentially, this is a multifaceted.
It's a whole bunch of stuff, I'm looking
Project.
it up at once.
So we have to track down some of the items. Scanner, some of the physical items. We have to, I read that only 20% of the photographs, 300 photographs, which is only 20% of the overall collection, have been digitized. So there's that kind of completion. There's sort of figuring out how to organize it and create, this places to keep it, so it's.
The physical.
Yeah, the
space.
physical accessibility of it and then the display ultimately. So it seems like it's a multi-part. You need someone who's good with technology. Someone who, like Rich said, is a historian and has an understanding of how history should be presented. But I think you also need someone who is familiar with library science and how to help us organize this and the best way to keep it all kind of collected. So I see it as a multi-volunteer effort. I mean, would you agree or?
I think so. I think there's many things that need to be done if we're going to kind of pass this on to the next generations, because I feel like a lot of we had so much energy 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of people really involved, and then as people passed away and people left the community and people left the board, that kind of died down to a totally different format. And
I
so,
wonder if that energy still exists in the community. I mean, maybe it does.
well, I think that part of the problem, of course, is that back in the old days, that there were people who were not full-time employed. And so that there were people who had time, which is why I brought up the idea of retirees, because I mean, though, you know, Lily and I have been working on this marker project for how many years now, 2 at least, and,
Wow.
and it isn't something, somebody who had a 9 to 5 job could have been kind of dogging it, and the slowness of making things happen and stuff, it we just needed people who were, had time at any day of the week, any time to work on it.
Well, I'm wondering if we couldn't have a little subcommittee with the library board. They meet, I mean, I don't know what happens with the library board,
They do meet,
like
yes,
quarterly or monthly or.
that's a good question, I think monthly, not
Oh.
actually 100% certain.
Because maybe a couple of us could go to one of their meetings and make a proposal, and then get a committee together,
I think that's a great idea.
because they're probably looking for ways to make the new library exciting, and the heritage
Well, they have
board would be good.
come up with wonderful programs. I've just been so impressed by what the people, you know, whoever's responsible at the library, how dynamic it is compared to the way I used the library when I was young, for kids and stuff, and
Yeah,
just
they have a lot
wonderful
of
programs
nice
they have.
programs.
But this would just be another aspect that is something different than what their current mission is.
Mhm.
But I think that part of it is you want to teach the children about their community and the new residents and the old residents about their community too.
Yeah. I wonder how much interest there is with new residents. And does anyone have a feel, like, you ever have discussions with new neighbors or younger people that have moved, like, I mean, I don't know, I don't have a finger on the pulse of.
Well, the people I've met
Feel.
love being in Larkspur. I mean, they just like the feel of the town, so we haven't gotten into the history,
Yeah,
anything. Yeah, it's just a nice place to live and fun,
yeah,
and most people come here and pay $1 for homes because they get to use public school rather than private school lessons.
right. And they have a library. that
Well,
them.
Mhm.
A couple of years ago, Jody Cook came to my house, and the Larkspur Community Foundation was expressing interest in having a reprint of Larkspur Past and Present. Of course, I don't know if you know the history, but at one point, storage was needed, and all the books that were in storage were just given away. How many years ago was that? 10 years ago? 8 years ago? 10 years ago, whatever. And I had some at my house. A whole bunch of us took some, and I had some at my house, and other people had at their houses.
I
did-
still have about
did-
10 left.
Yeah, I took a couple of boxes
No.
to Lelia's
Yeah, they were
house.
destroyed.
Yeah, I just.
No, they were distributed. We started a program giving them away every year to the 3rd grade classes.
Yeah,
At the Cove and Neil Commons.
yeah,
I mean,
We had merchants up and down.
oh, yeah.
yeah.
Remember
Anyway,
Charles Sink was.
Well, now she was talking about reprinting it, and they said, well, gee, we could, take all the pages out and have them photocopied and did it, and I said, well, I've got a copy of it on a flash drive, why don't you just come to my house? And everybody went like, you do? I said, yeah.
Well, that's a.
I saw it.
We have to keep track.
It was on a hard drive here, it was in Kristen, one of those file cabinets in Kristen's office. And I don't know, 15 years ago or so, or 10 years ago, I just took it home and I copied it down to a really, really high memory, however many gigabyte, and I just copied the whole thing and I put it on a flash drive, and I've got the whole thing, I carry it with me. Because whenever I'm going back and forth, half the year I'm not in Larkspur anymore, and I'm talking to Lily about things having to do with these markers. I just pull out my flash drive and plug it to my computer, and I've got the book right there. And carry it with me. Anyway, the only thing we didn't have was the artwork for the cover, which is no big deal. Right. Because we've got the rest of the book, you could recreate it.
Yeah.
So, but then I've never heard anything more about it, that I think that if the Heritage Board wanted to get involved with that in any way, or encourage the community foundation to do it, I think it would be a great public outreach to have that available at a nominal cost, whatever the cost of having it cheaply printed is in a paperback format. I guess that a lot of the new residents would like to have a copy of the book.
Well, I don't know, my sense was the community was pretty well saturated.
At that, yeah, but that was 10 years ago. Was that a lot of?
Well, I wonder how many are else, my 10 or so, and, you know, maybe there's lots
There
of,
might, I wonder if
Enough
Scott Morgan
books.
might still have
Yeah,
some, his garage, I mean.
you know.
Anyway, I'm just throwing it out there. That's a
Yeah,
possibility.
yeah.
And if anybody ever wants a copy of that,
That's good to know.
come to my house and copy my flash drive. I'm not giving it away, but I'll have that. So,
Yeah, well, I guess the next sort of segue is the archive room in the library. And in terms of what do we keep in City Hall? How do we display our heritage photographs and items here in City Hall? And is there, I mean, I might be getting ahead of myself a little bit, but I mean, one of the suggestions for this building is to create some space, whether it be a wall or a side room that has a historic museum aspect to it. And I don't know if that would be just archive storage or if there would be display for the public. I'm not sure what's best, but I wonder if, you know, that might be one of the things to consider with this building as well as the
Yeah.
library.
Is there a date when they think the library will truly move in there? Have you heard?
I was told
You
it's gonna
Alex?
open in April. Is that you?
I think construction is supposed to be done, yeah, sometime around spring of next year.
I think that was the requirement from the state, right? It had to be done in
Oh.
26. It's a condition,
Okay, well,
so.
coming up.
Are we still in official session?
Yes.
Yes, what did you want to say?
I was
Something?
just wondering if this thing coming to official business yet. We have to
Is
resolve.
there more we need to do?
This is a discussion item. There's no-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is really good information and it's kind of, I feel like it's lighting a fire a little bit under me because I feel like we don't have a handle on where these materials are. And it's a really important part of our job as the Heritage Board to maintain this stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, Helen Heitkamp left a whole file cabinet of images. I mean, that's not even counting what she had from decades of photography.
Lilia and Sally Ann Wilson and Jack Wilson and I went through and we tried to decide what to keep and what not to keep in Helen. Because they had to be looked at, and we chose not to keep a lot of stuff. There was a lot of newspaper articles and things that she clipped, and we decided it was. In today's technology, if anybody was doing research, they could probably locate information from some keywords and we didn't keep a lot of that. But I have in my garage some boxes of tapes and different things from Helen's house that are videotapes and things that nobody knew what to do with them. And I said, well, I'll put them in my garage because I got another room. So I have kind of a basement garage. And so they're just sitting there up on boards so that they don't get wet and wondered. And I'm hoping they can go into this archives room. And somebody needs to decide what to keep them.
Mhm.
Helen had a whole manuscript from the book en route.
Oh, well, Ross still has it. Is that her son? Her son still has it, the last time I communicated with him. He said if anybody's interested, he has all the information for her. That book, I don't know if that was called Then and Now or not, but one of her ideas was Then and Now. Because I was working with her on it, and then she got kind of off on another topic, and and then, you know, unfortunately, it didn't get completed, so.
Because it seems like someone who is adept at technology, who could take the different formats that these materials are in, whether it's past perfect or if it's, you know, to files or maybe flash drive. If there were someone who could kind of consolidate some of these materials. And I personally feel like that's beyond my capability as a, you know, I don't feel that I have the training to organize
Well, I
that.
think somebody who has good database management skills could do it.
Database
I've not- you know,
management.
I'm great at doing the spreadsheet, but I've never really worked with database. From software, so.
Well, is there money, and do you think, in our accumulated account of Heritage book sales to pay someone, or is it beyond?
But I thought some of that was going for the markers, the next round of markers.
Well, they are. I mean, that is the idea, yeah. We have to see what we have there.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe I like getting back to somebody's, was it yours, Marilyn, a suggestion of maybe reaching out to the community. And just saying this is a time when we're developing our, you know, or consolidating our historic materials database.
We'll make it into something exciting because things are, you know, scattered around City Hall, but at long last they'll have a home in the new library and we need help.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That kind
it'd
of
be great
thing.
if we could get volunteer groups doing it.
yeah, or maybe work in conjunction, do any, does San Francisco State or Sonoma State have any kind of library science degree or historic research or anything like that, community planning that involves old materials or?
Well, Christine Fall was the student and I don't know what school she went to. I said San Francisco State, but I could be very well be mistaken. I don't know if this might be lucky.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dominican might have some of them going on.
But that's an idea.
Yeah, and we could ask the Marin Historical Society too, to see in San Rafael, to see what how they manage their collection, because I think
That's a good idea, yeah.
we've got such a good start. I mean, I feel like just going through this document and how organized Heather was for this, I feel like we've got a good start. Now, if someone can take what's been done and move it forward and bring in some of the materials that haven't been cataloged. It seems like every couple of months we get some interesting artifacts. Someone from the community is just dropped off at City Hall that,
That is true, they get them.
right.
This is Heather Bornham's business card from 15 years ago. There's two of them in this. This is what I was given as a Heritage Board member. I don't throw things away. I don't know if it'd be interested in having this. You want us to give that information? Be one person to contact.
Well, here's what I'm wondering too. I mean, I'm always very conscious of the Brown Act. And it would be so nice to be able to work on this project and keep everybody up to date. Whoever decides to take it on, or maybe we take different aspects of it. And I would love to be able to do that without worrying about any Brown Act violations. And I'm just wondering, Alex, if there was some way, just one thought, is if we could pass a motion that said, okay, this is our goal. We're going to be working toward consolidating our archive materials, and all the board is going to be working, you know, on that, and it's.
Well, so it's not agendized for a decision, so I wouldn't make a motion about something. But if you're volunteering your time and working in groups of less than 2 at a time, that's something that is potentially an option.
I don't think you have to worry about it. The Brown Act in this kind of a thing. This is no decision making at all.
I would want the city attorney to weigh in, because I just
Yeah.
would want it to be.
Maybe we could ask him, because I just feel like in the interest of efficiency, like, say like Lily and I decided we were going to reach out to the Historic Society and maybe a couple of colleges to see if we can get some resources already in place. Would we have to wait till the next board meeting to sort of bring everybody else up to speed? No, so we could send an email out to everybody and say, okay, this is what we found from blah, blah, blah.
I would suggest if you reach out to other agencies and you find information, then you pass it along to me and then I will distribute it.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
okay.
When we worked on,
Library board.
when we worked
Yeah.
on, Larkspur past and present, Julia worked on it, I worked on it,
That
Ellen
was
worked on it,
when the
Nancy,
Brown
nobody,
Act.
nobody. And we had all gone through the Brown Act stuff, nobody ever said boo about working on the heritage book as a, because it wasn't. Even though it was being paid for by the city, you know, in part, it was still, it seemed like that was a project that was happening where no decision making was taking place at all that had anything to do with
Yeah,
your responsibilities on the board, so.
yeah. Well, we've
Yeah,
had,
to be honest, to do it in capacity from here, or it can be. And,
yeah, it's not as
It's a
board
little
members, but it's-
sticky. I mean, I don't know. This is, I don't know where this came from.
I like the idea of passing everything through Alex, so I
You
think
should
that's a
have
really
fun
good
with it.
idea.
You were on the board when it was given to you.
No, I couldn't.
So,
I could also have,
do you think Heather's number is so good? Collections manager consultant, what do you love to have?
yeah. Yeah, she would probably meet with us just to give us some direction where we stand.
I think that's a good start.
And she knows what was done better than anybody.
And not a lot's been done since then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's I guess is this your file, Helen?
Yeah,
This all seems to me like the first thing you do is get your hands on all of your projects and put them in. Consolidate them.
well, it'd be
Before you
nice to
start.
find all of the objects. I gave you a list of everything, and then since then, there are 6 or 8 items that, well, from Kristen, I had deeds of gift for, I think, 1, 2, 3 items since 1999. But I think there are a few more, including the brick mold and the bricks I have in my house that I keep bringing up, that I need.
I know you
My
do.
husband would love me to get rid of the brick, the bricks. The
Well,
brick
what they
mold.
put in the display things there.
I think the brick mold's too big for the display case, but we could put 2 bricks in there. I have 2 bricks as well.
So if you want to donate them.
I'd be happy to donate them.
So there's items that are not even included in this artifacts, furnishings and clothing.
But not very many.
Not many. But there's been a few that's come in that we've got. Anyway, so finding and consolidating the objects, looking at the safe deposit box and see if there's anything besides
Mhm.
negatives.
If we can find the key, either Lee or I can go with somebody.
Okay,
The key is supposed to be with the treasurer.
The treasurer should have a key. There's
And
probably
it's somewhere in
keys.
that section.
Is who's the treasurer? Is it owned still?
Treasurer, well,
Larkspur.
you mean the finance director?
Yeah, well, but she used to be called the treasurer. Okay,
Well, that'd be Amelia now.
Amelia.
Well, you know where once they went was in the library, there's like a staff area
that back room.
downstairs, back room that none of us go to. And the key was hanging somewhere there.
We have a collection of keys in our office. I can.
Maybe that's the collection moved up to you.
Are they out of range?
Marilyn, do you have this, or do we know if this material is digitized, like, is
Right,
there,
have you turn on your microphone, sorry, so we can see that.
sorry,
Thank you.
sorry about that. Do we know if all of this material is, you know, on a PDF somewhere that we can look at?
I have no idea. All I know is I was given that report at the end of the project. But it should be available from City Hall, should have a copy of it. But I don't know if it was just in printed format like that or not.
Thank you.
Only thing I did is today I scanned this part that I gave you. That just had the 5 pages about recommendations and, you know, what had been accomplished in recommendations, because I thought that was a pretty good summary of all of the extensive work she did.
Yeah,
I just think to get a handle on everything that needs to be done, like somebody it'd be good to be able to go through all of this. Carefully. If we, Alice, do you know if we have this like on a PDF file somewhere, or if you can find it, or should I borrow this from Marilyn and scan it in page by page?
Show me which document you're referencing. Oh, I don't know everything that's contained.
Yeah, Heather's whole, you know, all the work that she did.
I haven't had a chance to look
Yeah.
through our files. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in there or not.
Or in there or not.
It should be there someplace. Also, the, you know where this used to be in the janitor's closet, you know if it's there, it's, okay. This is the art, this is the word Melba Anderson did years ago.
who did that?
Melba Anderson, she was a neighbor who was up on Elm. And she did it from 19. Number 1 is 1974 until 1999.
She worked on it all those years,
Huh?
25 years?
She worked on it for 25 years. Every time there was an accession, she added it to, she gave a category. There's a method here that's used, I assume she got it from some museum instruction book. And it has categories and numbers and various things that allow you to go through and figure out how to organize the information.
So that list that Melba did for 25 years, it contains photographs as well.
It just yeah, it has everything,
So it has some of these items like the baby shoes and the ashtray.
right, they're listed, but also all of the photographs are listed here as well. But sometimes it says, but I think that Catherine Jones and Laura Callahan scanned all those photos. Sometimes it will say, photos, Larkspur Ferry Terminal during construction, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, were all under one number,
Mm.
that kind of thing. So there are a lot of photos grouped together as well.
And where do you think the photos are?
Good question.
Well, the photos are in the closet.
Oh, they're all in the closet.
The negatives are in the bank.
Okay.
Okay.
And none of them have been scanned, or they.
As far as I know, all the photos have been scanned,
That's- but-
except that you said it only goes up to a certain number on the.
No, what I read that Heather wrote was that 20% have been scanned
I
of
thought
300.
I thought they scanned all of them.
Yeah, I think that report is from 2012, and there's a memo in the file from like 2014 that says almost double that number at least.
Was it Dirk? And he was doing this. I don't know.
This was after Melbourne. This Melbourne.
Nelda didn't scan anything except
That
accession the items.
Mhm. Mhm.
So she created this file.
Uh-huh.
And Heather used this file when Laura and Catherine were doing the scanning. I did a little bit of the scanning, but I left it to them because I got confused every time I tried to help. I felt like I shouldn't get in the middle of a good thing. They were doing it every day at lunchtime, you know, they used to, like Laura working in the library, she used to do it at lunchtime. And Catherine would come in at a different time. Anyway, and so Heather oversaw that. And so I was under the impression that all the photos had been scanned in the end, but I could be mistaken, because I found that trying to go through the keywords to find photos was difficult. And the easiest way for me to see if something was in the collection was just to use the what Melvin called the catalog number.
But with past perfect, there's keywords that you can search with.
Yeah, but like, some of the houses would have a street number and some of them wouldn't. And like, it'd be really great if every house that had a scan had the street number of the house. There was a lot of inconsistency.
Mhm.
It was what was marked on the photos when people donated them,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. So,
Wow.
There's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but we don't have to do it all at once.
No,
I think if
no,
we can
we
just
get a
bite off
plan.
little pieces of it and maybe figure out who can help us.
yeah,
Cause I think
if
that's.
we can find people to help us, I'd be glad to spend time with them. If it in part my limited knowledge, because I really don't know that much about a lot of this, but I know a little bit about it.
it almost seems like we need to have someone like Heather Ford give us a little idea of where we are and where we progress.
I think so. Someone who's a professional.
Yeah, yeah,
Cause we don't wanna be spinning our wheels or engaging people from the community and we're not utilizing
Right.
them.
in a good way.
But it's
And make it.
another possibility would be for a couple of us, and I'd be happy to join you, or I don't have to either way. To talk with Lori Thompson at the county library. I'm sure would be an excellent resource too. She was helpful. I talked to her about this archive room and just the sorts of considerations that they have to make with insulation, humidity control,
Mhm.
temperature, and all of this sort of thing. And I talked to her a couple of years ago.
So we have Lori Thompson to talk to, Heather Fordham, who has her business card here. Christine Thal, who was a student volunteer right from SFState.
Yeah, I have no idea where she is now.
Well, those are good starting points.
Okay, so maybe we should make a motion that
Yeah.
we can't.
It's
Oh, because
just a
what's-
discussion.
Oh, it just says, okay,
Oh.
If you have, not on the,
it's not on the agenda.
Well, so we don't have a motion, we just have
Doesn't mean you can't do anything.
a plan.
Maybe informally,
We have a plan.
like we
Pursue
could
it.
each take a name and on our own, reach out.
Okay, do you want to just assign us names or?
Can I do that, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay,
Can you, I mean, you could do it after the meeting, but then,
or I could do it right now.
okay. Sure.
That way we all kind of know. So who would like to talk to Lori Thompson at the county library?
I'll talk to anybody, I, like. I the idea comes from the background.
Oh, do you?
A little bit.
Oh, well, that's.
I did the Library of Congress.
You're talking.
Sorry, I have worked with collections, accessioning, and a little bit of scanning.
Oh, great.
attachment.
Oh, you have?
My first job out of college is the Library of Congress, accessioning, photographs in the historical American building survey.
So you can talk,
A little,
a little bit.
enough that I think it makes most sense maybe if I tried to see if Heather is still
To start with Heather,
Heather. She'd be, let me just get her,
just her information's on that card.
Well, Sonia, would you like to, since Ann Morrison said, Marilyn, you're in charge of the archives room. Would you like to work with me on that then?
Yeah, I'm very interested in all of the archiving and collections and, you know, preserving
Okay.
heritage, very interested. I still work and have a child at home, so time is limited, but I'm very interested.
Well, I have a lot of free time in general, so, I just like, I'm trying to get ahead of the game and not find out, you know, in the spring that somehow they wanna move all this stuff over there and they're just gonna move it in and dump it on the floor, you know?
Yeah. No, it's
And
better
the
to have a
boxes on the
plan.
floor and the file cabinets in there, and then somebody have to scramble to figure out what to do with it. It'd be better if we kind of had a plan ahead of time for this room. So, but, you know. You know, I can organize a closet, but I'm not sure I'm qualified to organize an archive room.
I don't know that I'm qualified to organize an archive either, just, but I do feel that this is, feels a little overwhelming just by the description.
I know.
Of this, but yeah, in a team, where we can all
I think-
help each other.
Yeah, and we break it into sort of smaller pieces, spoonfuls. But Alex, do you think there's a way that you could look for the scanner that was by Kristen's desk? Is that any place around, or who would know where that might be?
I mean, I can take a look, but I can tell you, been in that office for over 2 years now, and I don't think there's any scanner anywhere, so I wouldn't hold out a lot of hope that it's still around.
Table about this big with a computer and a scanner, sucked in there.
Yeah,
That's not thrown away, that has to.
I wonder where it went.
I'll take a look.
I wonder if Kristen would know.
Well,
Have we looked in the men's room?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
everything is.
Right there, is that.
Rick, go check the men's room.
You have the, Red History Museum down.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be glad to contact the board members of the history. Museum.
Oh, that's great. Let's see, who was the name for that? Um,
What was that?
The Marine History Museum, the contact that you had there.
Oh, well, I said that Heather at one time was working there.
Okay.
I don't know if she does now. That was not recently that I heard that.
So we don't have a current contact at the History
I
Museum.
don't know. I haven't.
Well, I do, I mean, I.
Yeah,
Oh, you do?
that's great, yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
So who else is on the list?
Okay, so Rich is doing that. Sonia and Marilyn are reaching out to Heather. Lori Thompson, at the county library. In terms of organizing archives. So that's one person. Getting in touch with Christine Thal, who was a student volunteer. And potentially the other two volunteers were Laura Callahan and Catherine Jones. They were local,
Well, they were people who did the scanning, but that's all they did.
but they did the scanning.
They scanned.
So I could reach Lori Thompson, but you have to tell me something about how to reach her.
She's at the county library.
County library, in what capacity?
She
Well,
does,
she's in charge of the Kentland.
Oh, in the Kentland,
Who's in charge of it as far as I know.
okay.
great.
Well, my thinking had been that Lori Thompson would be a resource for help with organizing the archival room, because they have archives at the county, so that somebody up there is organizing, and that was the reason I had suggested contacting her, so.
Well, do you want to contact?
Well,
her?
that's why I was
Oh,
thinking that if I was gonna work with Sonia on the archive
With Heather.
oh, with her.
portion, then we could I could contact Lori Thompson. Sonia, what's your day look like?
Tomorrow I'm working from home, so I can send it, I was thinking, we could talk on the phone and maybe compose and reach out to her by phone, or by email, maybe we can reconnect with her, find her and reconnect with her.
Okay, let me, write down what is your phone number?
I would suggest doing that after the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
we'll try to.
Okay. So everybody has an activity, I guess what's left is Melba Anderson, is she still around?
She did.
Okay. But the work that she did, cataloging, is fantastic. I mean, that sounds like that was the basis what Heather was using.
Mhm.
What about Christine Thal? Do you think she's worth talking to?
She was a student who was helping, her photos out there. It probably says what school she was going to. It's with the flip chart, isn't it? In there, photo of Heather and
You mean
Christine on the
Christine?
flip chart? Maybe, I think there is. That's all I know.
That was a really long time ago.
Okay.
No, that's over 10 years ago.
Well, you know what I'm wondering is, I wanna figure out some way that I can help, and I don't know what that would be. Maybe, calling like Sonoma State or San Francisco State to see if they have any library, programs or any students that are looking to
Oh, that'd be great.
do some, you know,
Yeah, I don't
Put
know.
in some hours.
put in
or
some
something.
hours.
And then, I don't know. Like museum man, I don't know what it's called. What is it, collection management? That would be a program at the university level?
There's probably not like an MLS, but Masters in Library Science. There's, would probably host those kinds of collection classes. For, or museum studies with Rich or kind of thing, but. Yeah, I don't know who has the Masters in Library offers one, but I gotta look at maybe all local universities and they might have information.
USF too.
Okay, or Dominican, you're right.
Dominican,
Dominican,
okay.
Dominican would be nice, because it's close.
so close, yeah.
Okay, I can start researching that.
Yeah, I would ask if they, offer a master's in library science and
Okay,
then for professor in that department.
Okay. All right, I can work on that. Then maybe what we can do is have our regular board meeting in September. And we can report back again as continuing discussion. But are you still around?
I'm here through October.
Great, so maybe this would be good, then you could come back again in September? Okay,
And we can put it on the agenda.
Yes,
yes, let's put that on the agenda. Anything else? And I guess we can talk to Carol, and Carol can read it in the meeting notes.
I know, one other topic, if I may. I worked on the content for 4 more markers. Once we get these installed, if they're met favorably, price came up way higher than we thought they would be, and that is a consideration. And I'll tell you the locations just to get your feedback. One is, on Sir Francis Drake opposite Remillard. Because I'm sure that people would like, kind of wonder about the brick kiln and that sort of thing. On the water side, looking at the brick kiln. Another is on the north side of the creek, on city property that would be where the pathway starts at the west end. It would be a green break in its development. A third is, and we had a discussion, Lily and I had a discussion with a woman who worked for Public Works, but is no longer there for about having one in the Piper Park facing the boardwalk. And I don't know, the city already has markers there, so. But I'm not sure whether they would like to have another one of the different genres there, but anyway. And the fourth would be at Dolliver Park and talking a little bit about the development in the canyon.
Yeah, those are all good locations, but then we still are working on the Miwok.
yes.
I gave
I
up,
ask you what's been done with the Miwok connection?
There hasn't been one.
Well,
So-
there's a local Coastal Community Council member, Jason Deschler, that I sent you. And he said, I'm willing to help. So
Oh, good.
Oh,
Well,
really?
okay, so somehow I have.
I don't know. Did you send it to me too? Or?
I think it's just
Okay, so we have a person.
Do you have his number?
Jason Deschler,
Yes.
DESCH. Jason is a member of the Coastal Tribal Council.
Oh, I remember,
Now, you understand?
and which side is he on?
Okay, I'm about to explain to you. that
Yeah.
The local Marin Coastal Council is a separate body from the Federated Indians, so.
Right.
Rancheria,
Uh-huh.
and they don't easily speak to each other. There's a lot of hard feelings between them. I'm working with both groups. We're trying to get them to settle down and come together and collaborate on our 2 mile project. But Jason said he's willing to help you. And I'll give you his contact info.
Okay,
It's a real interesting dynamic because none of the Coastal live in Marin. The local Marin Council members have now purchased the property out in across the road.
oh, they have.
Last year, and they have a stage here, they have a following, people who know them, or we don't know the Manchuria folks. And yet, the Manchuria folks claim that they have sovereign right to the coastal tribal heritage and culture. These guys are saying, excuse me, I'm coastal well, and you won't allow me to, your enlistment was cut off. We can't sign up for your tribe anymore. But we're here to tell you that we represent coastal culture. We know enough of the language, we know the stories, we know the songs.
And this is Jason's.
Jason Bishop. He's the one who told me, I'll be glad to talk with you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, there you go, Hillary.
Yeah, we've been talking that. But would he be, well, I mean, maybe we can take this off discussion offline, but I don't know if we came up with a script for a marker, would that be okay to do that without the grade people's involvement?
Why not? I would say yes, absolutely. The only reason I'm beholden to the great lecture is that the city of San Rafael on property this project is built is connected to them, and they insist that we have their okay on this project. So I'm looking back tomorrow with to get their buy-in on their story, which we've asked them to tell for almost 3 years. And the images that they would like to see, it's really their story. That's, so I have to say, you need their approval on it.
For the 2 mile project,
Yes.
but that criteria would not necessarily apply to the Larkspur Heritage Board placards.
Unless somehow the city of Larkspur feels some connection to the sovereign.
I'm not gonna, in fact, not gonna comment on that. I would just
Go through the adjournments.
suggest that we should keep moving with items on the agenda, and we can certainly address these with an item just to talk about plans.
Well, that's in the future. I mean, I think let's focus on the ones that are getting installed
Yeah, right, yeah.
next month. That's very exciting.
Mhm.
And then we can work, and when you have your text ready, maybe that might be something you could present to the board at some point, and we could look at the photographs and kind of weigh in on it.
Created them, I can send them to Alex and he can send them to you.
Okay, good.
I have got to go look at them.
Right.
And you have this number, Jason, or not?
One comment about the Native American is that, Lily, I think you told me this, that somebody said that they're gonna have something at the library site concerning the Native Americans and the fact that they were in that area, because you know there were remains down there.
Does that mean that someone from the library?
I have no idea, I was just told
Well,
that
I could ask.
he mentioned it to me.
Well, because when they dug up, they found lots and lots of.
This is all, that's very confidential information, that
Oh,
should
sorry.
be.
What was in the
Discuss.
newspaper? That was in the newspaper.
Was in the news-
Yeah.
Well, that was in the newspaper.
Generally
But-
confidential.
But
No,
somebody,
it's in the IJ.
I was just bringing up the fact that somebody told me there was gonna be something at the library site is honoring. the
Well,
Native
yeah,
Americans.
Yeah, it was something that the city manager had discussed. I don't know what was said.
Oh, okay.
So the last business item is, City Hall, and I just want to say quickly that, there are two dates, as Alex mentioned, September 15th and October, I think it was 2nd. Yeah, October 2nd. And the 15th follows the Larkspur Wine Stroll, which is September 6th. So, I'm gonna be at the wine stroll. I don't know if anybody else is going to be.
I'm gonna be out of
So,
hiking the villages. So I'm missing that.
so I'm wondering if it would be helpful to talk to Catherine and Stephanie about, I have banners of like this, that say Heritage Board with the image of City Hall on them that I used at the 4th of July parade. If we can put up a table in conjunction with the city's table, maybe on the front lawn. And we have the brochures, we have the stickers, just part of raising awareness about this project, but it's going to be a big push, this building. And it's gonna take a lot of money, and we have to really work to raise consciousness and involve the public with potential use ideas for this building. And I'm not quite sure how to do that. I mean, it takes brainstorming, and maybe we can talk about that next meeting, because that meeting will be before October 2nd. Because I think we do need to, Stephanie Andre was talking about a survey to go out to the public, to sort of start reaching out to people to see, well, what do you want from your city hall? What do you envision for this space, to be? And when they have the open house on the 15th, people are gonna be walking back in the office.
really?
Yeah, that's what they told me. I don't know, that could change. So it's going to be a full, nuts and bolts view of the building. So I think we need to capitalize on these two opportunities as well as the wine stroll. And, I'm willing to set up a table and get some brochures and stickers out there. And I'm not sure what else we can do. I mean, I would like hand out brochures to people while they're drinking their wine, if that wouldn't bother people, try to hold their wine and read a brochure at the same time. But I do think just really keeping up our presence at these public events as much as we can.
So we want to use the opportunity of the wine stroll to let people know about the 15th and the 2nd to come and
Yes.
see the city hall.
Yes, and just to let them know that this building is setting up for a major remodel. And we don't know if it's gonna be the $6 million approach or the $40 million approach.
Boy, has anyone done a conceptual brainstorming to say that these are possible uses?
Yes,
And I mean, that's the way to present it to somebody, say, look, here, 10 different ideas.
yes,
What are your resident, where are you? What do you-
exactly,
rather than
exactly.
say, what do you,
Yeah, and of course, and a blank space at the end, like, what else do you
Other,
think?
other.
Other, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Stephanie and Catherine and I sat down, we met informally. And Stephanie took notes and then she sent them out as an email to me, which I can send to Alex, so you guys can see it as well. Is that okay, Alex?
Sure.
Okay. I'll do that.
I can help you in the wine stroll, so I can do that.
It'll be fun. All right, we'll get a root glass.
Sure.
All right, I think that's, okay. Then I motion for this meeting to adjourn. Okay, all in favor?
I.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Marilyn.